Welcome back, this is a review of Jean Grey, so let's take a look of the young Phoenix and find out if she really worth ranking up. If you don't want to complete the mission yourself or don't have time, you can contact me and order the completion of any mission in the game. The link to WhatsApp is in the description below. Let's take a look at her passive ability. First up is Omega level telepathy, which grants Jean immunity to reverse controls and all of her attacks deal energy damage. Her light attacks 2, 3 and 4 inflicts a narrow shock debuff for 18 seconds, dealing damage and countering miss abilities. When Jean takes or block critical hit, she applies a fatigue debuff for 20 seconds. Finally, her personal narrow shocks effects deal damage over 24 seconds. Force field. Jean Grey begins the fight with a force field, which effectively increases her max heals by 10%. This field is unaffected by ability accuracy reduction. While active, the force field reduces all incoming damage by 90%, except from special attack 3. While the field is up, Jean takes no damage from physical turns effect and reduces the opponent's critical damage. If the field is destroyed, Jean's unleashed a physical blast, apply a 30% delirium debuff for 8 seconds, which reduces power gain and inverse control. The duration of delirium is reduced by 1.5 seconds each time the opponent purifies a debuff, and its expiration slows by 30% while Jean is poisoned. Uncanny Psion. If the opponent purifies or shrugs of a buff while Jean isn't performing a special attack, she gains an incomprehensibility buff until the end of her next special attacks, taken up to 2 times. Each incomprehensibility buff reduces the power cost of her special attack and lowers their activation threshold, allowing her to use them with less power than usually. Jean also has psionic charges with a maximum of 10, gained in the following ways: when she builds up more than 2 incomprehensibility buffs, when the opponent purifies a debuff not inflicted by Jean during her special attack, when a debuff fails to apply due to ability accuracy reduction, when the first hit of her heavy attack purifies a debuff. Her heavy attack plays a key role. It forces the opponent to purify non-damage debuffs like narrow shock, provided the opponent isn't stunned. The final hit of the heavy attack inflicts a narrow shock, creating ideal conditions for building up psionic charges. Special attacks. First of all of Jean's special attack can power the effect of narrow shock, delirium and daunted during their animations. After the first hit, there is a 50% chance to inflict a passive delirium for 2 seconds. Special attack 1. The first hit purifies all active narrow shock effect and non-damaging debuffs, consuming all psionic charges. For every purified effect and consumed charge, Jean inflicts passive narrow shock debuff. The final hit applies 2 of 4 additional narrow shock, making their attack rate of ramping up damage. Special attack 2. Upon active, Jean applies a 35% passive intimidate for 20 seconds, increasing special attack damage and all damage over time effect. Each time deals bonus energy damage based on the number of narrow shock effect and psionic charges she have. The final hit consumes 50% of her psionic charges, rounded down. This is Jean's strongest and most explosive attack, capable of dealing massive burst damage. Special attack 3. This attack restores 100% power to her force field. It is active or fully activates it if it's broken. For every 20% of force field strength, Jean inflicts personal narrow shock effect, reinforcing her control and sustained damage potential. Strengths. First, damage output. She delivers impressive damage with a simple ramp up and solid survivability, making her boss strong and easy to use. 2. Versatility. Jean can cleanse and inflict debuffs efficiently, and since only a handful of champions are immune to narrow shock, she can deal constant damage in nearly any matchup. 3. Great survivability and block strength. Her force field and enemy crit damage reduced give her strong defense potential and make her super insanely tanky. Neuroshocks are excellent for countering miss mechanics. They allow you to safely punish enemies that's really on evasion or invisibility. Immunity to reverse control available, perk against annoying defenders like Psychoman or Spider-Man. Spikes? No problem. While her force field is activated, she ignores recoil damage from thrones or spiked ammo. Uncanny buff. Her unique uncanny mechanic lets her save power and even exceed 3 full bars of energy, allowing strategic control over her special attacks. Signature ability. Grants passive parry, unaffected by ability accurated reduction, extends Neuroshock duration, and allows Jeans to retain 1 uncanny charges after using her special attack 1. Weaknesses. Limited immunities. Despite her solid survivability, Jean lacks many core immunities, which can make Serration matchups tricky. Energy resistance weakens her damage. Opponents with high energy resistance can significantly reduce her overall damage output. No defensive ability control. She can directly counter abilities like Evade, Unstoppable or Regeneration, relying instead on raw damage and timing. Requires skill with heavy attack. To optimize her ramp up and boost damage, you need to land heavy attack without relying of parry, which takes practice. Heavily signature dependent. The higher her signature level, the more Neuroshock effect she can apply, meaning higher potential damage, but lower sig levels feel noticeably weak. How to play Jean. The classic rotation for Jean goes like this, starting by using light attacks and heavy attack without stunning the opponent to build up Neuroshock effect and psionic charges. Once you've stacked a few, launch your special attack 1, it converts your active Neuroshock and charges into long-lasting passive Neuroshock, giving you steady damage over time. Then keep building more psionic charges with light and oceanly heavy attacks and go for a special attack 2 while intermediate is activated. This combination deals huge burst damage. If your opponent somehow survives, you can fire off another special one under intermediate. In most cases that'll finish the fight. For longer fight, after your first special attack, drop a special attack 3 to refresh or fully charge your force field, then continue with the same rotation for sustained control and damage. Synergies. Phoenix and Dark Phoenix. Incinerate effects no longer reduce Jean's force field damage and both champion gain a 10% special attack damage boost. Cyclope grants 2 psionic charges whenever Jean activates a special attack while the opponent performs a dash. Professor X. Jean's personal delirium effects gain 20% increased potency, enhancing her control and power drain potential. Storm. The first hit of Jean's heavy attack pauses any active passive intermediate effect for 5 seconds, extending her damage window. Jean Grey is an excellent damage dealer, a versatile champion with moderate defense but huge damage potential. Her signature ability is strong and available, so you can confidently rank her up to high levels. Thanks everyone for watching this review, wishing you all a great mood, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.